for tuning in to Heart Ministry Radio Network and the Extraordinary People broadcast. I'm your host, Brenda Divers, and today I'm so excited. She's no stranger to us. Everyone knows Angela Jo Maneri. Absolutely. And she had her show, Your I Am Wake Up Call. Mm-hmm. And we know once you are a family member, you are always a family member.
Thank you.
So welcome back, Angela Jo. We're so glad to have you. And the reason we're here today is Angela Jo has a conference coming up.
Yes.
Right? January the 13th, the Who Am I?
Yes.
Conference. And that's going to be impactful, I'm so sure. So that's why we're here. We're going to talk about that. But before we talk about that, Angela Jo, there's a journey that you have been on.
Yes.
Right? And I guess we haven't really connected well in the last year because of everything that's been going on.
Yeah.
And so there's some things that have been happening in your health, in your spirit,
Yes.
and all of that. Can you just talk a little bit about that, and then we'll talk about the conference?
Absolutely, absolutely. And all that kind of came together for such a time as this.
Such a time
Yeah.
as this, yes.
So I guess just to sum it all up, the last 18 months have really been impactful, challenging, but yet rewarding all at the same time.
Wow.
And back in 2014 of May, I had a concussion, which was a pretty major concussion, and had some, they found that it was swollen. My brain was swollen.
Okay.
So, of course, I was, going about doing my thing and working full time, probably way too many hours, like 70, 80 hours
After
a week.
concussion. Wow.
Well, and they said, stop.
Right.
No TV, no internet.
Brain rest.
Right,
yes.
exactly, brain rest. Well,
how do you do that?
what do you think? Do you think I did it? Do you think I did it?
I can't even imagine
No,
that.
so I did not. And I have more of an appreciation now for people that have had any kind of brain injury. And God has just shown me so much through this.
Sensitivity, I'm sure.
Yes,
Wow.
yes. So rest was so important, and I did not. Well, fast forward, I probably did more damage than good, than, not being able to heal. So I was finding myself, the fatigue was extreme. Headaches were debilitating, where I was
Daily, for sure.
sleeping like 10, 12 hours a day.
Wow.
So
Wow.
not only did we not connect, I didn't connect with the world, I wrote one blog afterwards at the end of the summer that said, lessons from my Rumpelstiltskin summer, because I slept all the time.
Yes, and that's all you could do.
Right. So one doctor that I went to said, it just has to work itself out, and he actually thought that it was parallel to menopause. And I'm like, I think there's more to this than that,
Really?
Yeah. So, needless to say, I found a wonderful local doctor, and she said, we're getting to the bottom of this.
Praise the Lord.
MRIs, they found fluid.
On your brain.
They found fluid on the brain, and it was on the frontal lobe. And when it's on your frontal lobe, that affects your focus, your zeal. You're get up and go.
There is none.
Right, exactly. My get up and go went.
Get up and went. Wow.
So I used that time not only to heal, but my mantra during that time was, I am happy, I am healthy, I am whole, I am healed.
Praise the Lord.
I'm happy, I'm healthy, I'm whole, I'm healed. I was claiming God's
Every
promises.
day. Yes.
Really
Yes.
believing it in my spirit. Well, then I was waiting for appointments at different neurologists, and they did more tests and MRAs and MRVs, which I had never heard of before. Well, I went back to the doctor thinking, okay,
We're good to go.
we're good to go. I had healing hands on me and changing my just
Your perspective.
my
probably.
perspective, really thinking on purpose, like I train on, and I'm like, okay, that's my signature speech,
Yes.
and now
I have to walk it.
I really have to walk it. So I
My
went back to my appointment, and lo and behold, she said things have changed. And I'm like, and I saw it in
her
face.
Okay.
and she said they found atrophy. And I just was like, atrophy? Like atrophy and brain should not be in the same sentence.
Yes.
You
You're
know?
thinking muscles and all those
Right,
things.
right.
Yeah.
So atrophy is more like dying, and it could have been an onset of dementia.
Mm-hmm.
Well, after a 10 tissue cry,
Okay.
I just said, okay, God wants even a
Wow.
bigger miracle now.
Mama.
So it took a while. It took about 6 months to
Mhm.
get another appointment at Penn
Mm-hmm.
at the head of the neurology.
Okay.
Again, there's so much that happened during this time, but the main thing is that I relied on God more than ever, on His promises, on your words are so important, and they are containers for
That you
truth.
speak, yes.
And
yes.
and
Wow.
that's what this whole journey even was more of a revelation to me than before. I knew that, but boy, did I get it in my spirit. So
Your
after
words.
6 months, got the appointment with him. An hour of all this cognitive testing to the point of I was getting like upset because it
Okay.
was very intense. And after about an hour, he had my brain on this big screen TV, like kind of dissecting it in
Okay.
front of me, 3D. And he was silent for a while, and then he said, I no longer see any traces of the concussion, of the fluid, or of the atrophy. So,
Praise the name of the Lord.
you got that right.
Mm.
So, it took me actually a couple days to process,
Yes.
to say, okay, were the other doctors wrong? Were these tests wrong? I
Yeah.
saw
What
it.
happened?
The
yeah.
radiologist, the other neurologist, and then I said, no, but God.
Yeah.
But
You
God.
had to go through this framework.
Right. So that's kind of been the last really intensely 18 months. And so it's only been about 3 months now that I'm really feeling a little bit more normal, so
Okay.
to say, that
Yeah,
I'm
Joe.
having more energy back.
Mhm.
And he nudged me, God nudged me in the beginning of December and said, you need to do this conference.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh my gosh. It was kind of scary because I
Mhm.
haven't spoken for a while. And he said, call it Who Am I? And it's definitely based on the great I am and who we are because of whose we are. But it has such a different twist now because of my journey and who I am and what I've learned.
And I think many times these ministries or whatever God has in us before their birth,
Yes.
that labor has to happen.
Absolutely.
And you have gone through the
Oh, my
labor
goodness.
pains
Yes.
of that. Not
It was
knowing.
like a 3-term
Ooh,
labor.
yeah. It's like
A couple
should we
terms.
be
Yeah.
doing
Yeah,
that?
right.
But and just to know you in the process of it,
Mm-hmm.
and I know when the show you pushed,
Yes.
you pushed,
Yeah,
and you
thank
did it every week, and just that blog we had that just showing all the various guests that you had, and it's like wow, God did that.
He did.
He
You
did,
really
and
did.
it was so precious to see
Thank you.
everything that had happened, even in the midst
Yes.
of the pain and the not knowing.
Mm-hmm.
What is going on, but I love that you stood. You had to stand on
Yes,
God's word.
I did.
Or even while you're sleeping, you're still standing on God's word.
You're right. You're right.
And speaking that thing, because in those dark places, that's when the enemy attacks you,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you have to be able to say at that time, I know who my God is.
Yes. The affirmations
Yes.
of, I am the head and not the tail.
Yeah.
Above and not beneath. And greater is he that is in me
Praise
than he
the
who is
name
in
of the Lord. Yes.
the world. And all of those promises are true. I mean, there's 7,000 promises, in the Bible. But the I am says it's the gift that God has given me to share because our words are so powerful. And when we say them out loud, they get into our spirit even more than somebody else just saying them
to you,
to
That's
us.
right. That's
Right.
Yeah.
That we can say, I am a child of God. I am an heir to his kingdom.
Yes,
I am
yes.
patience. I am peace. I am healed. All
Praise
the I
Lord.
ams.
I am.
Yeah.
I am. Oh, I love this. Because you have your book. Do you still have your book?
Well, that's the funniest thing.
Okay.
Excuse me. And it's something you were saying about the enemy.
Mhm.
He knows my Achilles heel is my throat. And
Mhm.
that's why this raspiness, because the conference is coming up. And I'm like,
And we're going to push.
we are
Push
pushing.
through it.
We are
Yes.
pushing.
Yes.
Well, when I heard, and I've been delaying speaking again and doing the conference because I ran out of my first 1,000 books about 1.5 years ago.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And so I kept on saying, I can't do a conference without books. And a lot of my friends were saying, Yes, you can.
Yes,
Yes,
you
you can. And I'm like, well, then God put it in my spirit. Just do it without books. And I'm like, are you kidding? And then
I have that material.
all right, I have to. And then so I'm in the kind of the stage right now where I'm doing more like a GoFundMe or because the book itself is, as you know,
Yes.
it's a very expensive book because it's color and hardback.
Beautiful. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
And so I'm doing pre-orders now for it, like with
Good,
pledges.
good.
So, but he said, do it without the book, and then I prayed on how much it would be. What was I supposed to
Right.
charge? And he said, make it free. And I'm like, say what? So
Did I hear
did
you?
I hear you correctly? Wait a minute, my ear was here. Yeah. So
Ooh, all this.
Yes.
And because we are in God's kingdom,
yes,
and I'm always reminded that the normal rules don't apply.
absolutely right.
Of addition and subtraction and more.
Right, and
They
his
don't-
economy and everything
they
is all
don't
upside down.
apply.
It's
Yeah,
all
they
upside
don't
down.
apply. Yeah.
Mhm.
So you have to really know who your God is in order to go forward with a free conference.
Yes, yes. And I really
Yeah.
feel like, Brenda, that this time of year, so many people are making New Year's resolutions, setting new goals, and creating new habits, which is all wonderful. Yet, really knowing in your heart before you set out to create your path, it's about knowing, wait a minute, let me align with the will of
Yes.
God and find out what His path is, because it's so much easier.
Yeah.
It's so much more liberating, and it's the right thing to do. So that's what this conference is all about. It's
Yeah.
identifying who we are through different. The message he gave me years ago was using the I am and bringing it into 3 sessions.
Okay.
So it's inspiration,
Mm-hmm.
authenticity, and mindfulness. So
Say
that's
that again.
what
I
we
love
do.
that.
Inspiration,
Mm-hmm.
authenticity, and mindfulness.
Yeah.
So that's what the conference is. It's broken into 3 segments where I'm sharing what God has placed in my heart and spirit to share, but then we do brainstorming and interactive time. So it's more of a workshop and self-reflection.
It's engaging.
It is very engaging.
Yeah.
It's a little performance,
Yeah.
actually.
And to see you, I just love to hear you talk.
Oh, thank you.
And I love your eyes. I always told you I love your eyes.
Oh, thank
Say
you.
so much when you're expressing yourself.
Thank you.
But I love that because you're aligning yourself with the will of God.
Yes.
And I think that's really important, because if we don't, then those things will not happen.
Mhm.
Because the only things that happen are the things that are in His will.
Right. And if He placed it in your heart
It's
and
His
in
will
your
to do.
spirit, even though, and this is really big, even though it might be delayed, it's not denied. And
Not denied.
and what I'm learning, I've learned so much this past year in the resting, and in the be still and know that I am God,
Yes.
and just resting on Him, and really surrendering. And trust me, I'm not there. I'm not
Aren't
there
we
yet.
all?
We're all
It's
on the
working.
journey
Yeah,
together,
yes, absolutely.
just to be able to share some messages that I've learned in hopes that whoever is going to be a part of it can experience it and learn from it.
Praise the Lord. Who am I?
Yes.
And are we calling it a workshop, or what are we calling it? A
I'm
conference.
calling it a
More of
conference,
Yes,
yes.
yes. And it's January the 13th at 8:30 a.m. to 1:00 p.m.
Yes.
And where's it going to be?
It's at First Alliance Church in Hocassin, Delaware. It's kind of on the corner of Loveville and Graves Road. And 8:30 is registration and fellowship and a light breakfast.
Okay.
And I'm making quiche. And my quiche is like, I have to say, over the top.
Okay.
It's more like a frittata, but it's really great.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll have a light breakfast. At 9 is going to be worship. And then at 9:30, the actual
conference.
experience of the conference and workshop happens.
Okay. So do we need to register prior to that? How do we
Yes,
register for
yes.
the conference?
You can register. There is, we can even put the link
Information.
there
Mhm.
as well. It's under Eventbrite. It's called Who Am I Conference.
Okay.
You can find it there. You can find it on my website, which is angelajoe.com.
Mm-hmm.
And also, if you want more information, you can email me at aj@angelajoe.com, and I'll be glad to share some information. And if you bring 3 guests, you get a free gift.
Ooh. And her gifts are beautiful. This is one. That's right. These are these. Yes, beautiful, beautiful gifts.
Thank you.
And I'm so excited for you,
Thank you.
Angela Joe. Not only, but because of your journey. And I'm always very appreciative when I am invited in to see something.
Right.
You know, I don't take it lightly when people invite me in
Yeah.
to their experience.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and just to see what you've gone through and how you pressed. You've
Yeah.
had to really,
Absolutely.
but coming out on this side of it,
Mhm.
you know, on this side of the promise.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
It is.
It's
Thank
absolutely
you for saying that.
wonderful.
And
Yeah.
I applaud you because what you're doing here and this
Lord.
ministry, you are able to have a glance at an insight into
Wow.
people's journey.
I'm so grateful.
And I'm sure you glean so much too. And
I
so
do.
does
I'm
the
like, Lord,
audience.
thank you.
I
just
know.
to be in, just to meet
Mhm.
special people
Thank you.
like yourself. People who are doing what they're called to do in the earth.
Right.
We're all called to do something.
Mhm.
And then once God gives it to you, you grasp it and you run with it.
Right.
For me, it's a wonderful thing to see.
It is.
You
It
know,
is.
Absolutely.
And it was scary during this time because I wanted so much to go out and do, but my brain literally could not even process things. And like I said, the appreciation, I mean, it's not like your arm
Mm-hmm.
or your leg.
Yeah.
And I have sympathy and empathy
Sure,
for people
sure.
that have had problems with any part of their body. But
Mhm.
when it comes to your brain,
It
and it's-
controls everything.
and it's hidden. So
Mm.
people would say to me, "But you look great."
Yes.
And I'm like, But you
I
have
feel-
no idea what's going on.
Yeah,
I can't think, I
process.
can't process.
Mhm.
And to not have energy when you're
Wow.
usually such high energy really was challenging.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think he had to like just say, okay,
Just lay down.
it's time. It's
Just
time
go
for
to
you
bed.
to just rely on me.
Mhm.
I'm taking you out,
Yeah.
you know, and you're just gonna learn to rest and
Ooh, and I know that
restoration.
restoration.
That's what I gained is
Mm.
restoration during the rest.
Yeah, that's important
Really
because
is.
why go through the process if you don't learn the
Right,
lesson?
exactly,
The
exactly.
restoration during the rest.
Yeah.
That's important. I love that. There's always,
I
always
just thought of
wonderful-
that.
Yes,
You know?
yes. God dropped that in there. Restoration during the rest.
Yes.
Do what you're supposed to do during that time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we all have those foxhole experiences where we're just kind of out of it
Right.
while he's palming that bomb to us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, learn the lesson that he wants you to, so you can go and teach.
Right.
Because it's
And
not
learn
for
it
you.
quickly.
Yeah.
Learn it quickly if you
Adjust
can.
quickly. That's one of our authors. She learned from the Lord from her battle
Mhm.
to adjust quickly.
Adjust quickly. I love that.
Yeah, and I've been saying that since I heard it because it changes my focus really quickly.
Right.
You know,
Right.
don't linger on it. Just adjust.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
know now that if I would have listened and rested when I had the first impact of the brain injury, and it happened on a train, so it was pretty impactful.
Yeah.
But then there were several injuries that followed that. So
Subsequent.
maybe, like I kept on banging my head,
Mm.
which so. But it was almost like saying, okay, do you get it? Stop.
Right.
Slow down. And I think we as human beings
Have to keep moving.
we're not human doings, we're human beings.
Oh. Human
And-
doings. I tell you, she's always done it. Human doings.
Right, because that's all we do is do.
Mhm.
So guess what? Just be and be still in His
I
presence.
love it.
And you get so much more done when you rest in Him and are obedient.
Yes. Yes. The efforts.
Mhm.
You know, just surrender. You know, and I
Exactly.
know it's difficult for me. I'm always learning this. You know, just surrender. You know,
Mhm.
rest on Him.
Yes,
You know, because
absolutely.
He can do more in your sleep than you can do 24 hours.
Right?
You know,
Yeah.
don't fight it. You
Mhm.
know, just and it's a trust factor.
Oh, it
We really
certainly
have to
is.
trust our Father that He knows what He's doing
Mhm.
and that He will take care of us.
Yes.
So, who am I?
Yes.
January 13th at 8:30 to 1 p.m. And tell us again where it's going to be.
First Alliance Church in Hockessin, corner of Loveville and Graves Road, and I just encourage you to come for, I would say, a life-changing experience.
Praise
God's
the
been
Lord.
putting so many messages in my heart for the last, oh my goodness, for the last 18 months, but especially more recently, just telling me to share that we can have whatever he says we can have. However, we're saying what we have. So we're not saying what he has promised
Yes.
us. Not always, but
Mhm.
sometimes we do, which is great. But a lot of times we say what we already have
Yeah.
versus what he
Yes.
says we can have. So I think that's
Whew.
really important.
That communication has to be open for us to really hear what he's saying.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I love this. You have to come out. Angela Joe has a story to tell, and through her experience, you will be blessed. And I agree. I'm sure it's going to be life changing because you had to go through some really dark places.
Yes.
And he did bring you out.
Mm-hmm.
He brought you out.
He did. He
Looking
did.
fabulous.
Oh, thank
And
you.
she went in looking fabulous and came out looking fabulous. Who but God could do something like
Right,
that?
right.
Who but God? But this has been a wonderful time. Thank you, Angela Joe,
Thank
for
you
coming
for
by.
having me.
Oh, it's always good
I
to
miss
see you.
you.
Oh, I
love you. Love
I
fest,
know.
love fest.
Yes,
We did
yes.
some laughing on
yes,
this show.
we did.
Oh my God, I miss that. I miss laughter.
Yes, we
It's
did.
a healer.
But in God, He's keeping us connected.
Yes, absolutely.
He's keeping us connected. So that's our time. Again, you don't want to miss January 13th at the First Alliance Church of Hockessin,
Yes.
and from 8:30 to 1 o'clock. Come out and be blessed. Support this woman of God. And you need to hear the story. You really need to hear the story.
Thank you.
Yeah. So join us here, heartministryradio.com. Join us often. There's so much going on. You'll be glad you did. God bless you all.